Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic episode.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about the season premiere of The Walking Dead, Dead City. The episode was called Old Acquaintances, very apropos title. And as it starts, we find Maggie looking more gorgeous than ever, looking out at Manhattan, which had previously been cut off from the mainland by the military, which blew up all the bridges when the outbreak first happened in an effort to contain the spread of the zombie virus. And she's doing this from a riverbank by telescope, at which point she gets attacked by a walker, which in this episode were called groaners by someone, and I think chompers, which is interesting. There's always different names for the zombies. They never use the Z word, and the word varies from locale to locale. It's pretty cool. In fact, I think it was Maggie that called them groaners. Anyway, after she survives the attack by brutally killing this one walker that grabbed her, she goes poking around a motel and gets grabbed by the proprietors, from whom she escapes. She then finds Negan and a non-verbal girl that he's traveling with, who apparently lost her dad to some kind of attack by human killers, as opposed to zombies, aka walkers, aka groaners, aka chompers. Maggie asks Negan for help rescuing a kidnapped Herschel from the Croat, someone Negan knows from his old life. And he agrees to help her, seeing as he's on the run from some New Babylon marshals, wherever they are, hot on his tail, and he's run out of places to hide where they won't soon find him. Maggie escorts Negan and the girl to a newly relocated hilltop where the girl is taken in so that he and Maggie can go get Herschel. Meanwhile, the marshals show up at the motel, and after interrogating the owner, played by the same actress that played Raffi on Star Trek Picard, they feed her to the walkers for the supposed crime of aiding and abetting Negan, who the marshals say killed a magistrate and a few other people in cold blood, which Negan denies happened the way the marshals say it did. Maggie manages to kidnap one of the junior marshals and take him hostage as she and Negan take a motorboat across the river. Just after they get across to the island and are walking through the streets with no guns for some reason and no crossbow and no visible weapons. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, Maggie has a knife, and she has a knife in her boot, that comes out of her boot. But like, Negan's not carrying anything. She's not carrying a gun or anything. It was a little weird. Anyway, just after they get there and they're walking through the streets, somebody starts tossing walkers off a roof near the Flatiron Building. After taking cover under some scaffolding and the bodies stop falling, they make their way further into the city. After Negan spots a trap and makes sure that they avoid it, they find themselves in an alley where a bunch of buses have been piled on top of each other to make a wall, as a vehicle playing loud music goes by, leading a horde of zombies right to their location. As the horde makes its way closer, somebody starts mowing them down with automatic weapon fire from behind. It turns out that the marshals have arrived, and they enter a dry cleaners behind our heroes and lock the doors before the horde makes it to the same dry cleaners and begins trying to get in. The marshal appeals to Maggie as she's hiding to come out and hand over Negan, but of course she doesn't. But before she and Negan and the hostage can move to a new hiding spot, the hostage gets attacked and is only saved when Negan kills the walker at the last second. The horde then breaks through the cleaner doors and kills one of the marshal's men before the marshal accidentally kills the other one, the one that was being held hostage, as he was trying to shoot Negan and misses. Maggie then ends up in a tussle with the marshal when she sneaks up on him from behind but doesn't get to him before he figures out she's there. She manages to get out from under him and knock him down before almost killing him, which she hesitates to do when she seems to remember that she'd be killing him in cold blood, the way Negan had killed Glenn. And Negan sees her decide to refrain, and they just leave him there as they continue on. We then see where Herschel is being held, and that he's not being treated very well by the Croat, who's called away by his men to help them capture someone else they've been interrogating, who's escaped and is trying to get away from wherever they were holding him, and who soon falls to his death when the zip line he was riding between skyscrapers in his escape attempt is cut by the Croat. And that's where the episode ended. So I had gone somewhat sour on The Walking Dead in the last few seasons. It got old, and I didn't think it was very good. I didn't like how the original series ended. I I'd always assumed at the beginning that when the end came, they were going to figure out what caused the apocalypse, and they were going to find a cure, and the end would be, about humanity finally being able to move on for real, and without having to worry about zombies anymore once the ones that were in existence were killed. But once they decided to do Walking Dead World Beyond, which was set 10 years after the events of the original Walking Dead, I knew that wasn't going to happen, however many seasons ago that was, because the zombies still existed 10 years in the future. And I found that disappointing. And so when the series itself ended, it didn't really end. I mean, it ended, but it was no ending. It just was like another season finale, and then we're just left there. And I thought that was terrible. I thought that they shouldn't have done World Beyond, and they should have ended Walking Dead, you know, on humanity finding a cure. And I think they still could have done these shows they're doing, right? Because it's going to take a while to kill off the remaining zombies. So they could have had this show, they could have had the DARYL DIXON show, and they could have still had the upcoming Rick and Michonne show, to wrap it up. Because I don't think they intend for these shows to go on. They're just kind of one-offs, I think. But anyway, I'd gone a little sour on The Walking Dead, but I really wanted to watch this show for a couple of reasons. One reason being Maggie, another reason being Negan, another reason being Maggie and Negan, and the whole Manhattan thing. I think the whole zombies in the city thing is crazy compelling. And so far, it didn't disappoint me. The city looks crazy messed up. The first episode was at night, so it was a desolate New York City at night with bodies falling off the buildings, and it just was very atmospheric, and just as I thought it would be. They're approaching the island on the boat, and it's creepy. And before that, Maggie had been looking through the telescope and just sees nothing but a wall of walkers on the island, and just the idea of over 1 million people living on that island. It's 1.5 million right now, and all of them zombies except for like a scant few people that might be still normal living on the island. That's very daunting and crazy and creepy, and I'm just loving it. Because once they're on the island, they're kind of stuck there if they don't have a boat. They can't find a boat to get off. So it's just very daunting. It's a very different setup than the regular Walking Dead. So I wanted to watch it. And like I say, it didn't disappoint. I thought it was really good. I thought it was the best Walking Dead they've done in years. The other part of that is, like I said, Maggie and Negan, individually as characters and together as a pair of characters. I've always liked the Maggie character. I thought she was great. I love the actress. I've always thought the Negan character was great, even though I thought that it got a little old, in the seasons after the season that opened with the reveal that Glenn had been killed. I thought that season, okay, we did Negan, and then they did it for a couple more seasons, and I was like, this is getting old. But once he was captured and started to sort of redeem himself, that's where I found the character interesting again. And so I was thrilled that they're, to hear that they were doing this show, because I like both the characters individually, and their dynamic is just amazing, in terms of a storytelling a point of, deriving stories from, because he's trying to redeem himself and she's trying to forgive him, but she can't quite do it. And, he's not completely redeemed. He still kind of has that Negan quality. So it's just really cool to watch them move through the world and move through the world together as well. So I'm loving it, because it does what TV and movies and books and so forth are supposed to do, which is showcase the human condition, which the original Walking Dead did really well in the beginning, but kind of stopped doing 6 or so seasons out of 11 in. I think the guy that's playing the Croat is doing a good job. He's sufficiently twisted that it gives you the heebie-jeebies. So I'm really looking forward to the next episode. I think they're off to a great start with this show, and I can't wait to watch the rest of the season. But that's really it. So I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back with more content soon. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.